Hi, hello, good morning. If you're joining me here in Nigeria or West African time, and good evening, good afternoon. If you're joining me in any other part of the world, thank you so much for being here. I'm Blessing Ingyape, and I welcome you specially to 30 minutes of Dyslexia with Blessing Ingyape. So if you're here live with me, just let me know so I can say hello to you. Yeah. So for those joining us on YouTube, thank you for being here. For those joining us on Facebook, thank you for being here. To those who probably are watching the replay, thank you for coming around to watch the replay. It's such a pleasure to have you here today. So like we know, this is just for 30 minutes, so we go straight to the business while we're here. And our first edition for this year, 30 minutes of dyslexia for this year started last week, Saturday, where we started talking about homeschooling. I mean, homeschooling children, specifically those with dyslexia, because of the seasons where we are in now, the pandemic and all of the lockdowns happening. I mean, a lot of parents have been playing with the thoughts of should I homeschool my child? Should I not homeschool my child? And here in Nigeria, you talk about homeschooling, it looks weird to some certain group of people. But in other countries, developed countries, where homeschool is actually legal, I mean, you have the right to homeschool your child if you want to. You have the right to, it is your right, But here, so you're wondering, can I homeschool my child here in Nigeria? Are there regulations? Are there rules? Now, the good news is that as we go through this series of homeschooling, we're going to have people come here and talk to us. We're going to have people come here and talk to us about homeschooling in the US for our US audience. We're going to have people talk to us about homeschooling in Dubai for our Dubai audience. And of course, you know that our greater audience is Nigeria. And there are parents who homeschool their kids. Yes, and for this past 1 month into this year, I've been doing a lot of study on homeschooling, and there are lots of families who homeschool their kids. And there are also educators out there who are offering homeschooling services to kids. So we're going to bring them on board and they're going to talk to us more. They're going to share their experience, how it has been, the challenges, and how you can jump into and be a part of it. Because if you're watching me now and you have a child who has a learning issue, I know you don't have to tell me. I know that during the whole lockdown and schools being unstable, it affected your child, and it is not rocket science. It is expected. And when I was writing up um, the write up for this a particular post for this event. I'm sure if you had read it, you'd hear the story of Maureen. Of course, not in Nigerian, but it's a story that we can all relate to. They had started intervention for the child, they had gotten help, the child was progressing, they were so hopeful, and then the pandemic happened, and the child had to go back home. And although the schools were offering online learning and other things, they weren't exactly meeting the needs of the child. And at times like that, that's where it's important that you jump in as a parent to help your child. Because so just imagine everything had to pause. And if you have been in this game of teaching children with learning issues, specifically dyslexia, you realize that when you stop an intervention, when the child is not yet ready, like when you're not done with the process yet, every day that passes by, the child takes a step backwards. So if your child has gone through 6 months of intervention and just stopped, I mean, it just stopped. Not like you got to a place where the child needs to stop. It just stopped abruptly. You're going to realize as the child goes on in life without intervention, the child is actually taking a step back from the intervention that the child has taken. So you need to be prepared as a parent. Now, I keep saying this, you don't have to be an educator, but with lockdowns happening here and there, not knowing what will happen next, I mean, we're just, thank God, here in Nigeria that the president said no, no other lockdown, because we really don't have a stable economy to handle everything that comes with kids being locked down or people being locked down. Now, if eventually, if there happens to be another lockdown, what plan do you have for your child? Especially if your child is already struggling in school, can you help your child at home? Can you help your child at home? You need to get all of these skills. And I keep saying that it doesn't matter if you're an educator or not. As long as you're a parent, you're automatically an educator. You're automatically your child's role model. And if you have a child who has a learning issue, you are that child's number one advocate. And usually, when parents come to us at Dyslexia Help Academy to offer intervention for their children, we always give them the option of also getting a training. Why do we do that? An intervention takes about 1 to 2 years. Usually, if it's 1 year, that's because the child already has the basics, knows their letters, the sounds, the 2 letter words, 3 letter words here and there, has a foundation to an extent. And then it's usually 2 years if we're starting right from the beginning. And intervention can be quite expensive. So sometimes going through that intervention for 2 years is not what most parents are disciplined for. So if you get a training, it gets to a point where when we have laid the foundation, you can start tutoring your child at home. Secondly, we advise parents to get a training because if you're sending your child to a school, you need to be sure that your child can get the necessary help. And if you don't know what dyslexia is about, if you don't know the help your child needs, then how do you even know if your child is getting the necessary help? And I love the story of one of our parents that said while she was looking for a new school for her child, she went to this school and she told them, my child is dyslexic. So do you have plans for my child? Can you meet my child's need? And they said yes. So the mom asked, okay, so what is dyslexia? What do you know about dyslexia? What are the plans you have? And the mom said from what they were saying, she already knew that they knew nothing about dyslexia, nothing about accommodations that the child needs, nothing. And she took her child away. So just imagine she didn't know. She put her child there and her child would get worse and worse by the day. So as a parent, you need to, you have the responsibility is quite big of you ensuring that your children get help and that you're also informed about the help they are getting. And if you're a parent of a child with dyslexia or learning difficulties or special needs, it is something that you can't run away from. You have to get yourself soaked in the struggles that your child is going through. You need to get yourself soaked with the solutions that are available for your child and get yourself armed and ready to teach your child when the time arises. So asking that, how do you start? How do you start? If you want, you might be asking us, so Blessing, I want to do this thing, but I don't know how to start. How do I even start? It's not even about the time. How do I start? Now, the first question you want to ask yourself is, why do you want to do this? Yes, I've given the whys. I've said why, but you need to have your own why. You need to ask yourself personally, why am I doing this? It needs to be written down. There has to be a conviction, because when the struggles come, it is your conviction that will keep you. When the hurdles come, because homeschooling at home has its challenges, it is your why that will keep you going. So why do you want to homeschool your child? Is it because you feel your child is not getting enough help at school? Is it because you feel it's too expensive and you don't have the resources now? Is it because your child is dyslexic? So you need to ask yourself these questions. And asking yourself these questions also helps you to know how long your intervention will be, how long homeschooling will be. So for instance, if it's because you don't have the resources, it means that when you get to that point where you have the resources, you can move your child back to school, it is because your child is struggling to learn. It means your major goal is going to be to help your child stand so that when they stand, they go back. Is it because you just don't like the school system of where you are, you want to do it alone? Then you realize that you're in for a long haul. So you can see that your why really helps you in knowing how long an intervention is going to be, also how long the homeschooling is going to be. So now if you're in the US, you know that homeschooling is legal. I mean, all the 50 states in the United States is legal for you to homeschool your child. But of course, they have different state rules, and regulations that govern that. But usually, if you're homeschooling your child from, if it's a decision you've made right when your child, you know, it's a baby, you've already made that decision, then usually all you need to do is just adhere to the district rules and regulations of the particular state where you are. But if your child is already in school and you made a decision that, I want to pull my child out, you don't just pull your child out. You have to write to the school, explain why you're pulling your child out, uh, probably because you want to school the child, and then you go through all of the processes the school has for you. But nevertheless, we are going to bring people from different countries who share the experience of what homeschooling looks like. And of course, basically Nigeria. So the how about here, you're wondering, are there rules governing homeschooling? Can I just pull my child and start homeschooling? Yes. Sadly, in Nigeria, right now we're not even talking about homeschooling, because if you look at the percentage of children who are out of school, we have organizations, NGOs who come up to offer education to these children. And most time the education they are even offering is just so that the children can read and write. So when you come to Nigeria, it's a different ball game. It's not just about even homeschooling. It's about children being able to read and write. So you have platforms that offer homeschooling. You have some organizations that offer homeschooling. There is this popular one, Tutoria, and some others that offer homeschooling. But even if there is, we're going to bring a professional to talk about this. Even if there is rules governing homeschooling in Nigeria, I mean, you know how it works in this country. We have policies that are laid down, but nobody is following them. So of all the parents that have spoken to their homeschool their kids, there was no legal binding. Some just decided that I want to homeschool my child and decided homeschooling their children right from school age. Others pulled their kids out and started homeschooling the children. So as of now that I'm talking to you, people who homeschool their kids in Nigeria have no legal backing or any uh, body harassing them for homeschooling their kids. So you can decide to just homeschool your child. So now that you know your why, the next thing is training. You need to get trained. You need to know what is expected of you, especially if you're not in the educational sector. Okay? Especially if you're not in the educational sector, you don't have an educational background. You need to get some form of training. And don't worry, it is not something that is difficult. Especially if you're homeschooling your preschooler, your toddler, you already know the basics. Okay, the basic things they learn there, the ABCs, the skills they need to get. But it's also important that you have a curriculum, okay, so that you're not just picking up things and just educating the child. You need to have a curriculum, you need to have goals. And last week I spoke about the curriculum and I said it's easy to get the Nigerian curriculum. If that's curriculum you want to work with, it's very easy to get the Nigerian curriculum from the Ministry of Education. It is accessible. You can get it, and then it will help you to plan. What should my child be learning during preschool, nursery, and all of that? You can also work hand in hand with schools. So you can decide to work with a school that, look, I'm homeschooling my child, but I would like to partner with you because I would like my child to write all of the external exams. Of course, you know the external exams, the common entrance, the junior WAEC, then the senior WAEC, and all of that. Those are very important if you're homeschooling your child here in Nigeria. There are certificates that your child needs to have. So you can partner with a school and say, I want to homeschool my child. What should my child be learning in preschool, in nursery, in primary, in secondary? Now, knowing this is very important because it will help you to also know where you need to stop. Because especially when they get to secondary level, you have chemistry, you have physics, you have mathematics. So if those are subjects that you can teach, then it means you need to push your child back, or you need to get an external tutor who can come in and tutor your child on those subjects. Now I know that there are some parents that are terrible in mathematics. We don't need to say that again. I mean, you know yourself. You know that I'm sure you've even been asking yourself that, wait, this homeschooling thing I want to do, I'm okay with other subjects, so but this mathematics, I don't think I'm okay with it. It means you have to get an extra tutor who will come and help in that area while you guide. I remember you're the principal, and the tutor is like the teacher of your home school. I mean, you own a school. I mean, you're teaching your child in school, you own a school. So understanding what it entails helps you know where to get your training, helps you know how long the intervention should be. Don't just start. Don't just jump in and start, okay, I want to homeschool my child. Okay, we're starting today. No, count the cost. Okay, understand how long am I homeschooling my child? What are the strengths of the subject? Okay, can I do everything in preschool? How about nursery? Can I do everything? Can I handle this subject? All right, great. So we're going to do this. That means you already have the curriculum, you have the goals. When you get to the primary level, you also ask yourself questions. Can I teach this math? If you can't, then you get the help of someone who is equipped in that area. And then when it gets to secondary school, most people push their kids back and most don't. So you need to ask yourself questions at every level if you want to homeschool your child. And then when you're homeschooling your child, you also need to realize that at home you have to be flexible. Okay? You need to be flexible. If you have a child with a learning issue, you need to be flexible. You can put your child again through all of the headaches of a confined school environment. Okay, you have to employ multisensory approaches where your child can learn at home, make it more fun, and all of that. So that is how you start. You start by counting the cost, by telling yourself, how long is this going to last? And it's okay if what you want to do for now is only preschool. You realize that as you're going through the preschool curriculum and all of that with your child, you probably might be getting more inspiration to continue in the primary level. It means that you're going to get trained in all you need to learn about the primary level, the curriculum needed. As you go through that process and your child gets to the next process, so you keep asking yourself step by step, can I handle this? You need to remember also that you need to get yourself trained at each level, and you can't walk alone. You need help. Help with people who have done this before, help of schools, so they can also help you with the curriculum that you can work with. But you don't need to work alone. Like I said, and that's why we're going to bring in people who can hold your hands. All right? Parents who have done this and can hold your hands. So now, why? So I'm not going to talk much about that. We're going to start that next week. So ensure you don't miss it and invite as many parents who have children that are struggling to be a part of this. So now, what if maybe you're probably asking that, okay, I don't want to exactly be my child's full teacher, but I want to focus only on the things that my child is struggling with at home. And even during the holidays or lockdowns or anything, I don't want to focus on all the other subjects. I just want to focus on my child's struggles, which is reading. How do I do that? So the first thing is goals. And thank God for you to ask that question. It means you're already thinking of the goals. So this is what I want to focus on. I want to focus on my child's reading. My child can identify colors yet. And if you have a child who struggles to learn, this is not new. You can have kids who are in grade 5 who are in just one that are struggling with some basic things thanks to our educational system that keeps pushing kids, pushing them. I mean, when parents come to me and talk to me about their children's learning issue, and they'll tell me this child is in grade 5, and I'm like, the child is in grade 5 and doesn't know colors. How on earth did the school keep pushing that child? You have some in just 1, in just 3, and you're just saying, how? So this is not new. You can have kids who are in these classes that don't know some basics, don't have the foundation in math. I mean, addition, don't have the foundation in it, don't know colors or know just the primary colors. Not, they are not skilled in the act of reading. So probably if you're that kind of parent, those are the areas that you want to focus. So you need to be certain. You need to have the goal and tell yourself that, okay, why the school handles the other things. I want to handle the reading. I want to handle my child doesn't know colors. My child doesn't know some of these basic things, which of course is not what they are learning in grade 5. It's not what they are learning in JS1 or in JS3. And of course, because your child doesn't know these things, doesn't mean your child is dumb, and doesn't mean that you have to now move a child who is in JS1 to come back to kindergarten. No, it doesn't work that way. With accommodations and modifications, your child can still function well in the classroom while you help with all of these things. So first have a goal, okay? Have a goal that this is what I'm going to work on during the week. And then during the weekends, I'm going to ask questions. If you have a child with dyslexia, you need to understand that checking their work is important. I offer classroom support for children who are dyslexic, and most times I have to break down what was taught in the classroom. If basic science was taught, I have to come down and break it down so that they can understand more. Of course, they were following in the classroom. But remember that when you're working with children with dyslexia, you're talking about short-term memory too. So what the teacher did an amazing job in the classroom, but because you know that your child is dyslexic, work still needs to be done. You need to come back and refresh what was taught and find ways to help your child memorize them. So usually, after teaching in a multisensory way, which most times the classrooms will not have the time to do that, you help your child understand it, and then you can have mnemonics. So for instance, if we have the characteristics of this, you can say one, breathing, two, this, three, that. So I'm going to find strategies to help my child remember. So can you see? You can see that if you have a child who is dyslexic, classroom work is not enough. You also need to be equipped as a parent to help your child at home. So you're going to have all of those goals, and then you're going to get the training. Training is very important. It's important that you are trained on how to do this. And over at the Dyslexia Help Africa, we offer help. We offer training, and we've had people who have passed through our trainings and can tutor kids now who have dyslexia. We have teachers who have done this, we have parents who have done this, and we have the next batch coming up in February. So if it is something that you're interested in, which you should be interested, if you have a child who has a learning issue, you should be interested. Enroll for it, okay? So that you can get the necessary help you need to help your child. And the good thing with the trainings we offer is that we don't leave you alone. We are consistently in touch with you. There's a rapport, there's a relationship. So that whenever you need our help, you have questions, we are there to help you and to hold your hands. And of course, you already need to know that when you're tutoring your child at home, a child with dyslexia, you need to focus on the most important things. So you can't be focusing on French, you know. If your child is not interested in music, you can't be focusing on music. You need to focus on the core things that your child has an issue with. And that's where we still go back to the goals. The goals are very, very important. Having your goals will help you. So I hope you found value. Remember, this is just for 30 minutes, okay? I hope you found value. Remember, you can always reach out to me. I'm very accessible. You can have questions. What we do here is just 30 minutes to give you a head start. But if you need more clarification and you have more questions, feel free to ask me, and feel free to join the Telegram group too, where you can always ask questions and I'm there to answer. Aside from that, we also have other professionals who are on the Telegram group that can respond to your questions. And even here, if you're watching this now on Facebook, I believe you're a part of our Facebook community. Feel free to ask questions at any time at all. Okay, so did you get value today? I believe you did. Thank you so much for watching. And also feel free to drop your comments. Feel free to tell us where you're connecting from. I will see you again next Saturday where we will have a guest who will talk to us about homeschooling. I mean, people who have gone, who are doing this. I mean, people who are homeschooling their kids, so that you know that, you know what, this is not new. And there are people who are doing it. And if they are doing it, you can also do it. All right. Thank you very much for your comments. I will go offline now and I will respond to them. Have an amazing weekend. Goodbye.